Welcome to the Nightly Rant
with
your hosts, Mike
and Torya.
This is the show where we examine society from a sarcastic point of view.
If you like insane conversations, this is definitely the show for you.
Let's get into today's topic. YPN people, I don't know about you, but I love helping out a friend. That's why I want to shout out my friend Brian Little and his podcast, Your Favorite Blockhead. This is the only show that manages to weave together peanuts and MMA into one heck of an amazing podcast. You can find Your Favorite Blockhead wherever your favorite podcasts reside and at yourfavoriteblockhead.com. Do me a huge favor and listen to Brian's show. You'll be entertained and you'll help out a friend. Now, as I said, let's get into today's topic. So it's been a week-ish that we've been back from vacation.
2 weeks.
Has it really been 2 weeks?
Yeah. We came back 2 weeks ago tomorrow.
No.
Yeah.
You're right, because they went on vacation again after that. I forgot about that. Well, okay, so it's been 2 weeks since we've been on vacation. So why don't you tell people where we went?
You tell people where we went since you drove there.
I asked you first.
Nope.
And you're right, I did all the driving, so you should do the talking about where we went.
We went to Flagstaff.
Flagstaff what?
Woot.
Where is Flagstaff? I don't know where Flagstaff is.
Up your butt.
Nope. Where is
In the
Flagstaff?
great racist state of Arizona.
The racist state of Arizona. Please know that is not the opinion of the show or Yogi's Podcast Network. It is Victoria's opinion and Victoria's opinion alone. Any resemblance to Yogi's Podcast Network or their opinion is purely coincidental.
He's in one of those annoying moods tonight. I see how it is.
I'm always in an annoying mood when it comes to you. You know that. You always think I'm annoying. So, what was your favorite part about the trip?
Not being in California. That was my favorite part of the trip. I was pretty excited that we were in some trees and not in a giant, colossal metropolitan area of doom.
Okay, so now that you've given me a general thing that was your favorite, what specific event that we took place in was your favorite part of our vacation?
Take your sarcasm and stick it up your butt. I just told you what my favorite part of the trip was.
I asked you for your specific
Out of all the
event.
events we did, it doesn't matter. They were all okay. My
I don't
favorite
agree.
thing.
I don't think they were all okay.
The
Driving there and back sucked. The Radiator Spring side trip kind of sucked, especially from the driver's standpoint. Ghost Town was good. I liked the Ghost Town.
Did you?
Especially since we kind of did that on a whim.
Yeah.
I saw it on an ad on a website, an Arizona website, and I saw it on an ad and I was like, oh, that's pretty close by.
Who wouldn't love a ghost town with mountain lion cages and a death cave?
Yeah, it was really weird. Apparently, this is on Route 66, which is like the big thoroughfare for a lot of years from east to west and west to east. And apparently they built like this little town there. What was it called again? Two Guns, right?
I think so.
And as an attraction for people traveling through, they had like mountain lions in cages, like a little zoo of mountain lions.
Yeah.
You know something that's interesting that you probably don't realize? There's the Santa Ana Zoo, right? Like you've seen it. But what you don't know is the Santa Ana Zoo is mostly primates.
You told me this 1,000 times.
Yeah, they're mostly primates. It's still a very interesting zoo. Okay. So I can imagine that this mountain lion thing was probably really intriguing because, how often you get that close to a mountain lion without fear that it's going to eat you?
After seeing those cages, I can't imagine that it was very safe.
I know, right?
Especially since the dude died because he was mauled by a bunch of mountain lions.
Yeah, it wasn't safe. They broke out.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting, it was decent. It was only a 30-minute drive. It wasn't bad at all. It was
and it was super hot, and we kind of broke the car a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I have to go on Monday. That was interesting. But what I liked the most was going to the place that I'm going to tell you is the most beautiful place I've ever been to in my entire life. Grand Canyon. Southern Rim is where we were. Oh my gosh, it was beautiful.
It was canyony, and it was grand.
It was so beautiful.
And the hike was murder that you made us go on.
It just went on and on and on and on and on. It was so beautiful. And when you think about it, we really only got to the tip of the iceberg right there because we hiked in and we were like in one of those, when you look at a canyon from above, we were in one of the little tiny inlets. We weren't actually in the main canyon. And you kept going down. The next stop way down there, like 3 miles down there, was some kind of super scenic spot, like in the midst of the canyon
I could
itself.
have hiked down, absolutely no problem, but you'd have had to send like a helicopter to pick me back up.
Well, it was quite steep coming back up, and in some areas it was like climbing stairs.
It was awful. 900 flights of stairs. I feel
And it doesn't
so
feel
deceived.
that bad when you're going down. You don't think about it being that bad, but it was terrible.
Yeah, it was not bad at all going down. I thought I was going to die on the way up.
There were times when
Other people thought I was going to die too.
There are times when my heart was going to come out my chest.
Yeah.
And that was the worst part, was that I couldn't really help you because I was having the same problem.
Right.
But, you know, it taught
Couldn't
me.
have helped anyway.
It taught me the definite need to drop some pounds. I got to drop some pounds. It would have been much better. It'll also help my sleep apnea. The lady yesterday that we were talking to, she said she had been diagnosed with sleep apnea. She dropped 20 pounds, went back to the sleep study, no more sleep apnea.
Wow.
So, something to think about. But what were your overall impressions of Flagstaff, the city as a whole?
It was very familiar feeling.
Was it?
Yeah.
But which part of where you lived before was it more like?
All of it. There were some parts that were like small town, and some places that were like the city that I lived in. And like the people were friendly.
So a 1 to 5 scale, you'd give it a 5?
Like a 4.5.
Nice. And that's for comfort, familiarity.
Yeah.
Okay.
It didn't smell like exhaust fumes there, which was kind of freaking nice.
I was impressed by the cleanliness.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of makes me feel like where we live, people don't take enough pride in their environment.
Well, they don't. They don't take any pride in their environment.
Because there's actually more people in Flagstaff than here where we live.
Right.
And yet it was nice and clean. I think we just don't take pride in our environment, so we let trash lay on the ground and stuff like that. And, I mean, we know this by watching. We've ranted about people in our apartment complex that just leave stuff on the ground like it just belongs there.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know. And I agree with you. It was clean there.
People just don't care, you know? It was super clean. That surprised me.
And from the fact that we had to eat dinner and lunch out every day, the prices there were a lot lower than they are here.
Yeah, they were decent. I mean, even the expensive steak restaurant was nowhere near what we were used to.
We went to an expensive steak restaurant, all got decently expensive food and dessert, and it was under $200 before the tip.
Yeah, that was single-handedly the most expensive event of the entire trip.
Yeah.
It was the only thing that beat it out was the hotel room.
Right.
Think about that. That's crazy.
The hotel room. Oh, the
But, you know, that's another story. So we get there. I'm going to tell this part. So we get there and we arrive at like 1 o'clock. We can't check in until 3. So we go and we have lunch at this place called Fat Olives. We're eating there. All of a sudden, Torya pokes me and goes, look, it's Cody Brown.
We saw Cody Brown.
And there's Cody Brown cruising on out
in
of
the
the
flesh.
Fat Olives. And the bro told us that Cody Brown is in there all the time, but with a different wife each time. He's not in there with the same one over and over and over again. Interesting to know.
We were pretty amused by
we were amused by that start. Then we went to Walmart because Alyssa in her infinite wisdom didn't pack socks and needed socks. And so we did that. And that took us till 3 o'clock. We literally did not check in early. We get there.
We got there like 2:59.
Yeah, walked
to the hotel.
Told the guy while we were there, there's a guy behind the counter and a girl. And the girl was obviously newer.
Right.
At least to maybe working the counter. She may have worked in the hotel for a while. Who knows? She could have been a maid and then moved up or whatever. But there she was, trying to help us. And dude's trying to explain to her how to do it. And they give us keys. And I boogie out in front of you guys. And because, you and Alyssa both are complaining about having to walk over there, that I should drive the car around the other side. I'm like,
well, clearly you didn't hear what I was actually complaining about. I was complaining that you were parking in one of the check-in spots and leaving your car there.
But there were no check-in spots.
They were obviously the two spots.
Didn't say check-in. And no other marking of any other parking spot.
Oh my God, you've never been to another hotel.
I'm a driver. I know the rules of the road. You got to have a sign. If there's no sign, I can park there. Enough said. Anyway, as we digress, I get to the door that's our room, and it's wide open. All the bedding is balled up in a ball on one bed. There's towels on the second bed just laying there. And there's a maid in the room. So I turn around, I go back, and I nicely say to the guy, hey, you know what? There's a problem. That room's not ready yet. So could we switch to a different room? And he goes, what? It's only 3:05. It'll be done by 4. I said, well, I'm sorry, but check-in is at 3. And you're right. It's 3:05, which means it's past check-in time. And I can't check into that room, nor should I have to wait till 4 o'clock. And then he raises his voice at me. And so I raised my voice back at him. And then he has the balls to say, you don't need to raise your voice at me. And I told him, well, you want to know why I raised my voice at you? Because you came at me. When you come at me, I'm going to defend myself.
Right.
So the girl, I forgot to mention, when he raised his voice to me, before I raised my voice to him, the girl shushed him and told him to stop it. So clearly she felt he was wrong about what he did. And I'm not saying that me being loud was the right response, but it comes down to this. It's a measured response. You're going to act like a complete jackass. I get to negate that back and like a complete jackass right back, and you can't say anything about it.
Yeah.
That's why they say, if you're going to go there, be prepared to have the other person go there too. Mm-hmm. It's just the truth.
Right. So then he finally checks us into a different room. We go up to the room door, and the freaking keys don't freaking work.
Neither of them.
This time, I thought you were going to go full savage on the dude. I followed you downstairs. And then you're all super polite, and the dude is like bitching at you. And I'm just like, how about you just come upstairs with us and open the door? And he was like, grumble, grumble, grumble. And he like came upstairs and he opened the door after he reprogrammed the keys. So there was actually something wrong with the freaking keys.
So we nicknamed him, and I'm going to just tell people what we nicknamed him because we're sarcastic and we're rude some of the time. He was a redhead, so we named him the Flaming Red Jackass because he acted like a jackass and he had flaming red hair. And I can tell you, I don't know how you felt about it or how Alyssa felt about it. Alyssa didn't seem to care because she never did complain that we called him that, and you know she would if it bothered her. It's one good thing about my daughter. She'll turn on the, hey, don't do that judgment if that's how she feels. So anyway, what happened was Mitchell, he loved that. He used that name over and over while we were there. We'd be at Target, he'd use the name. We'd be eating lunch, he'd use the name. We'd be eating dinner, he'd find a way to use the name.
Except because he's Mitchell, he was calling him the Flaming Red Butthole.
Yeah, but, still.
Yeah.
It was funny to watch him enjoy that so much. So then we finally, honestly, the room on the inside, it was clean. I didn't get any funky smells out of that room.
No, the room was great.
I didn't feel like it was super modern, but I also didn't feel like it was super decrepit. I don't feel like they had the room set up to handle your luggage that well.
No, you noticed there wasn't a luggage stand.
Right.
And there was room for one.
Yeah, and that's what kind of bugged me, was there's just no easy way to be organized.
Also, perhaps an armchair in the corner by the air conditioner would have been nice.
But I will tell you, I really think we did a good job yet again as a family of staying organized and neat in our room. Things weren't everywhere, and that's always important. That's always, people wonder why that's important. To me, it's important because that means you don't leave something behind. When you keep things organized, all your stuff's in this one spot here. It's not all the way over there where you're going to forget it.
Right.
That was a good part.
The hotel room was the only problem with the hotel was the jackass at the front counter. That's it. Everything else was great.
See, I give Flagstaff a 3.
Okay.
And I give it a 3 for some very specific reasons that in the hunt for where to move when it comes time to leave Loonville, whenever that may be.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure that the things that make it a 3 are insurmountable in the grand scheme of things, like...
So what were they?
Well, isolation. It's literally like what I'm used to here is if I'm in Cyprus and I want to go to Anaheim, it's like a 10-minute drive.
Uh-huh.
And if I want to go from Anaheim to Garden Grove, it's like a 2-minute drive. I don't want to be in a situation where I'm stuck in a city and the next city is 25, 30 minutes away. I don't like that.
What would you need in the next city when everything you need is in Flagstaff?
I don't think everything we need is in Flagstaff.
What do you think is missing?
Did you see a Costco there?
Oh my God, he's back to the Costco again.
Did you see a Costco there?
There's a freaking Sam's Club there. There's over it. There's a Costco
2.5 hours away.
There's a Sam's Club. Get over it.
That is the dumbest thing ever.
Get over it.
Costco, what is wrong with you that you don't put Costco out there? Stupid Sam's Club is out there. The lamest club on earth is out there. Sam's Club sucks, and it's out there. Costco, you rule, and you're not out there. What is your problem?
What I don't get is this place has a Whole Foods but doesn't have a Costco. That was kind of interesting.
Well, yeah, you ask yourself, okay, I worked retail with a big retailer for a lot of years, and I was a store manager, and I opened new stores. So I was quite familiar with the process that they went through to determine where and when they were going to open a location and how big. And a big part of it is what you just said. That's a huge part of it.
Right.
You need to know that people in that area are going to come to you. So how is it that a big store chain like Whole Foods, which is run by Amazon, by the way, the king of data, how is it that they decided, and I may have just answered my question, that Flagstaff was the right place to go and didn't have any problem with that, but Costco miscalculates and lets their competitor move in ahead of them?
One, that was not exactly a new Whole Foods. My guess is it's been there longer than Amazon has owned Whole Foods, for starters. And two, you're forgetting the fact that it could be the city of Flagstaff itself that does not want a Costco.
But if that was the case, they wouldn't have a Sam's Club.
Maybe they don't want a Costco because they have a Sam's Club. Maybe Sam's Club wanted to be there first. Are you telling
me they censor what businesses can go there? Is that what you're inferring?
Fuck! I was just attacked from behind by a 30-pound wiener dog who's now stuck and can't go where he wants to go.
There he goes. Oh my gosh. I wish we had video.
What the heck is this?
It's the circus wiener. Here comes the circus wiener.
Come here, baby.
It's Diego the circus wiener. Anyway, enough about Diego the circus wiener. The point is, you're now telling me that they censor what businesses come to their town? Because if that's the case, I'm going to lower them to a 2.
Every city does.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Do you not remember the Cypress Tattoo Parlor bullshit?
They still got in.
So? How about La Palma and the marijuana distribution facility?
Well, they didn't say no to it, but they haven't said yes to it either.
It was a hard fuck no. Let's be real.
No, it's not. They took it off the agenda for more study.
They're not going to study it, and they're never going to approve it.
They'd better.
How about Bueno Park and any kind of marijuana facility? Like,
but they have a law about that here. They don't allow it. All of the cities
are fascist. Exactly. They don't allow it. Just like Flagstaff probably doesn't allow a Costco.
But not allowing an industry is different from saying, here's a big box chain for food and household goods. There's 2 of them, Sam's Club and Costco. That's it. Those are the 2. There's nobody else that does this shit. Well, not true. Smart and Final. They also do it.
Anyway, it was just a suggestion.
But they're not a membership. But here's the thing. Both of them are membership. They're both in the same industry. Of course, if you ban the marijuana industry, you ban all marijuana businesses. Well, if you ban the retail box industry, like Costco and Sam's Club membership, they both go. But you kept one of them. It's not fair to censor one out and let the other one in. If you want to, I don't like that you censor any of them out, but if you're going to censor them out, you turn it off completely.
My guess is the population there can't support 2 giant warehouse stores.
Come on now. It's bigger population-wise than here.
Except for the Cypress Costco serves Cypress, Los Alamitos, Seal Beach, Buena Park. Like, it serves all of those places. It doesn't just serve Cypress.
Not necessarily. Buena Park people also go to Norwalk.
They can, but why would they? Because then they pay more sales tax.
But they do.
But why would they?
Who knows? Ask them. Why don't you go there and ask them?
The Cypress one is also closer.
Yes.
So my guess is most of them go to Cypress. Unless they're wackos like us and sometimes go to Huntington Beach because we need to buy dog food.
Did I not say that?
Why are you talking over me?
Did I not say that other city was like 30-minute drive away?
No, you actually said it was 2.5 hours away.
No, not the next closest Costco, the next closest city. I said I didn't want to be isolated and have to drive 30 to 40 minutes to a city. Why not put a Costco, I don't know, 10 minutes out of the other city so it's maybe a half hour from you? Why make me drive 2.5 hours?
You could call Costco and ask them.
I'm going to send them this episode. I'm going to tag them on Twitter in this episode.
This dude in this room with me is a freaking lunatic, people.
I have principles.
He's a freaking lunatic.
I have principles.
Because a place doesn't have a Costco, it can't get more than 2.5 stars.
No, I gave it a 3. Please don't lie about what I said. And I didn't even get to finish why. So the first thing is, did you see a Costco there? No, you didn't. Let's not have a discussion about it. Just answer the damn question. Did you see a Costco there?
I'm pretty sure we already answered the question.
What was the answer?
Stop asking it repeatedly.
What was the answer?
Why don't you tell everybody since you already answered it?
No, we didn't find a freaking Costco there. No, so that's a mark off. Sorry. That's
Somebody asked me if he'd like some cheese with his wine.
That went from a 5 to a 4 right there. Boom.
Cheese with your wine?
And like I said, in the isolation, didn't like the isolation. Don't like feeling like I'm the only thing around. And one of the things I did find sort of intriguing and interesting, I don't know if you noticed this, but you sort of did, I think. I'm not sure you put it together the same exact way as I did. My guess is going to be you're going to say,
oh my God, just spit it out.
But then, maybe if I just keep talking like this, it'll drive you crazy because that's a pretty easy thing to do.
I'm going to turn off my microphone and leave the room.
Your buttons are super short. Anyway, did you notice that, okay, how to describe it? Around the outer edges of the city is where the residential people live.
Uh-huh.
The normal folk. Okay? And yeah, some of that stretched down and touched like the outskirts of the city itself, like the downtown part of the city. But like when you go in downtown Los Angeles and you're walking down one of the main streets in downtown Los Angeles, there's a loft right there where regular people live. They didn't have any of that there.
So hold up. Flagstaff was built like a normal city, unlike this metropolitan pile of crap.
But that's what I'm saying. Like it was. But did you notice that? And then you did notice there is some apartments in kind of the middle, but they're for the college, and it makes sense because they're closer to the college, and they're kind of like the way I look at it. Because Alyssa was asking me why I thought this was important. I think it's important because most people going there are going to come from out of state. They're not going to be like Flagstaff residents that just happen to go there. Some will be, but most will not. Well, that means you probably might not have a car, or maybe you don't need a car because there you are. You're within walking distance of everything that you need, and your school's right there.
If you lived in downtown Flagstaff, you wouldn't need a car for anything.
Yeah, I think so. But the people that actually live there long term live around the outer ring. I find that interesting.
It's normal for a city that isn't like here, though. Most cities are built that way.
Here's why I find it interesting. There's more people than here, so the only difference is that instead of building the city in a tiny, compact area and stuffing a bunch of people in there, they've spread the land mass of the city out wider. So yeah, they might have 10,000 more people, but it doesn't feel that way.
Well, here it's so metropolitan that you can't really tell where Buena Park City Center is by the type of buildings that are there. Because then they decide they're going to put like city center type stuff up against La Palma to serve La Palma residents and up against Cypress to serve Cypress residents. So here is like this weird, freaky thing. That doesn't make any sense to anybody who's not from here.
Well, they try to keep everything within close proximity. So like you made the example of the Costco that is used by Los Alamitos, Steel Beach, Buena Park, Cypress. They stick it in Cypress, but they stick it in like the furthest west side of Cypress because then it's closer to those other cities that you talk about and it can service them as well. So you can spread out your resources a little bit more. The thing I find interesting about having everything be on the outskirts is the chances are you got a pretty good drive to come into the center of the city. And especially the state of those roads where there's a lot of stop signs and it's a single lane in each direction. I don't know. That was interesting to me. It was just an observation. It's neither a plus nor a minus. It just is what it is. It was interesting to me to see that. I'm not sure I entirely agree with that kind of approach, but I didn't build the city, so it doesn't
look
really
at the city of Lethbridge.
Do you have to?
Yes. It has like a main city center where most things are. And then because it's expanded quite a lot in like the last 10 years, they built that Walmart Costco area off in the distance.
Closer to where you lived, yeah.
No, farther from where I lived.
The one further was older.
I lived in the city center.
But the one further was older. That's what I'm saying.
The one by Costco was older. Yes. 100% I know when they both were built.
And I 100% can tell you just by the fixtures that the one further away was older.
Okay, whatever you say.
Has to be.
I know when they were freaking built.
Why do they have the ancient fixtures then?
I know when they were built.
Why do they have the ancient fixtures?
Just move on.
Maybe one was remodeled and the other wasn't?
There was 2 Walmarts in the city.
Supposed to be a problem solved.
The one next to Costco is like 15, 20 years old.
But maybe
the one on the other side of the city is like 5 years old.
But maybe it was remodeled a year or 2 ago.
No, it wasn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm giving you a suggestion. It definitely felt much older. Its fixtures were older than the one near Costco. Its fixtures were more run down than the one near Costco.
I think you're on drugs and mixing them up.
Nope.
Okay, whatever you say.
I can even picture that. What's it called? Tim Hortons with the drive-thru right there, and then there's the taco place that was over here.
That was the one by Costco.
There's
literally nothing by the other Walmart.
That's the one that looks much newer.
It's not.
I'm just proving to you. You're telling me you think I have them mixed up. I'm telling you the details of what's near it to show you that I don't have them mixed up.
It's 100% not newer and hasn't been remodeled unless it's been remodeled since I moved away from there.
Interesting. Well, I didn't really love that design of a city. I think I like this, but that's one of those things that we talked about that, like I said, it's like, I don't think it's insurmountable. It's just something, it's a massive change in a direction I don't like, but all right, whatever. So you go with it.
Well, that's one of those things we're going to have to agree on in some form because this, how it is here, is a massive change that I don't like. Isn't that interesting?
Well, but that's why, like I said to you, it's one of the reasons why I really feel like the more I think about it, if you're going to go to Colorado, it needs to be more near Denver because Colorado Springs is going to be another thing like Flagstaff. There was literally jack squat diddly from like the border of Colorado and New Mexico all the way to Colorado Springs. And then from Colorado Springs, I can't remember what the next city is, but it was a pretty good drive too. The only thing that was interesting about Colorado Springs is they have the Air Force Academy there.
That's
so it's kind of a military town. Well, but no, that's also what lends to it being more conservative.
I have no issue with conservative, but I have issues with the recent things we've heard about that place.
But anyway,
yeah,
I started thinking about it, and that's why Vegas is also still a good choice, because you can go off to Summerlin or you can go off to Henderson, and you can kind of live in kind of an isolated area with nothing but like the grocery store nearby and that kind of thing. Then if you want to go to some nice restaurants, you just 15, 20-minute drive, boom, you're at downtown Vegas. I see nothing wrong with that.
That's fair.
That is not isolated. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of, but essentially I'm trying to say it's like you're off on your own for as long as you'd like to be, but in a quick flip of a switch, you could be back with a crowd of people if you want.
It's a suburb? Question mark?
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of what you call it, like, because the other way you're isolating yourself. But whatever, it doesn't matter. I've explained what I mean. Overall, though, I think that's what I'm saying. I think most, like the Costco, I really hate that. I hate it with a passion. And I do not like the idea of having to drive a 5-hour driving trip, round trip in a day, just to go to a freaking Costco. Just not happening. Sorry. If I happen to have business over that way, okay. Otherwise, forget it. It's not happening. But that's one of those things that even though I don't like it, it's just a change that you have to get used to.
It's just a weird thing to be mad about. That's all. That's.
It's my number one top reason why I don't like that. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway, I feel like the way that the city's designed and whatever, I would have to absolutely despise it to not go, because that would be to me, it's just okay, that's not what I'm used to. It's a change. And I also kind of don't love the change that they're putting on me. So those are 3 strikes against it. So it's kind of like, whatever. I can get over it. I can learn to live with it. That's not a deal breaker. And that's what I'm saying. I think, it gets a 3 because I also looked at the weather. The weather there's horrendous. Horrendous.
How is it horrendous?
It's in January alone, there's 29 freezing days. Freezing is the worst.
Do you realize that I would kind of like that?
That's good, but that's one of those areas where we would need to compromise, because just like I would love for my arthritis to be in 105-degree weather for a month or two, I know you don't love that, so we got to find a compromise that works. And I'm not interested in being in frozen weather from January, February, and March every single year. That's one that's going to take me some time to convince myself that I'm going to do that. Just being real. That's going to take me some time to convince myself that that's doable. But even that, my intellect tells me, is not something that's insurmountable. I mean, we talked about, like, even in Vegas, you save so much money on your housing payment that 2 months out of the year where you pay like $300 electric bill, you can afford it because you saved more than that just on the rent that month.
Right.
So you're still saving money. So that's the thing. That's why it's not insurmountable. There's always, my opinion these days, I didn't used to think this way, is that when you're faced with a situation like that, if you can see a way to find a solution, then that shouldn't be a deal breaker. Because just because you're too lazy to seek the solution isn't a reason to eliminate a place. You need to not be lazy and go and seek the solution. If you get done and you're like, this actually is a deal breaker, well, fine, then you can walk away. But why take it out of the running just because you found a couple of negatives? But I will say this. I also was watching the kids in this respect. It didn't feel foreign and weird.
Okay.
It felt comfortable.
Fair enough.
Like, even interestingly, like the style of the homes. When I go to the East Coast, it feels foreign and weird. Like, I have a feeling this trip to the client is going to be foreign and weird.
Okay.
It's an area of the country I've never been to. I've seen what happens on the 90 Day Fiancé when they go back there to that same city. And I'm just like, oh boy, thank God I'm just working. Anyway.
Okay.
When you go to some places like back east, the way the houses are built is more foreign and different than the way things are here. And it's a huge difference. And so it just, again, not something that's insurmountable, but it just feels different. But when you're going from here to Arizona, the architecture seems very similar.
Well, it is desert, so that makes sense.
It's just interesting. And they get snow and whatever. Very pretty. Those pictures I saw at what was it, Chick-fil-A? Very pretty, the roads.
Well, you don't get snow unless it's below freezing.
Well, I know that, but freezing temperatures they were talking about was like below zero. No thanks.
You don't get snow unless it's below zero.
Yes, you do. 32 degrees.
Oh, stupid fucking Fahrenheit. You get snow anytime below 32 degrees, so there.
Uh-huh. But that's my point. It doesn't need to go down to minus 17.
Anyway.
But as I always say,
the horse is dead.
In the long run, the cold is better than the hot, no matter where you live, because with cold you can keep layering, wrapping yourself up, whatever. Once it's hot, you can only get naked. That's as far as you can go.
And then you can't leave the house.
After that, there's nothing left, and you're not allowed to leave the house. So what good is it, right? Like, you're just heat is something you just have to decide. Can I grin and bear it for the little while that there's heat or not? But cold, you can literally be like, who cares? I can just wrap up. No big deal. Everybody should be able to withstand cold. That's what I think. I think heat's more of a decision. Well, I think heat's more of a decision. Like, how much heat can you handle? 75 degrees, 85 degrees, 95 degrees, 105, 115. You know what I'm saying?
75.
Well, guess we're staying here.
No, it's too hot here.
Well, this is the mildest climate not on the East Coast. We're not going on the East Coast. That's just not something I'm doing. It's way too expensive.
It's like 95 degrees half the year here.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh. Do I have to look up the weather?
No, but we're going to end this conversation now.
No, we're not.
Specifically about the temperature in California, I'm not talking about it anymore.
Okay, fine. I'll just talk about it.
Okay.
It's fine with me if I'm the one that talks about it. I have more to say about it than you do anyway. So there. It's one of the mildest climates in this entire country. It's a Mediterranean climate. It's like, I think the average temperature is like 74 degrees. It's 95 every day.
Did I say every day? No,
yeah,
I didn't fucking say every day.
Yeah, you did.
Thanks for exaggerating.
Okay, fine. Well, when we listen to it back.
I said 95 degrees, like 6 months of the year. Huh, that doesn't sound like every day.
Okay, that's fine with me. Anyway, I think 3 is pretty good when you think about it. It's 3 out of 5. It's pretty good. And it might be a little bit more than 3, but somewhere between 3 and 4. I didn't really give it that much detailed thought as to why it would be what it is. But those were my major issues. And those were just major issues. There was very few small issues. Very, very few small issues.
I hope the proximity to Arizona gave it some extra points.
No. I thought it was interesting that the train, and I think this is brilliant, that the train only goes through one part of the town, rather than here where they cut it through diagonally 99% of the time. That part I find brilliant, because then there's places that you can live in the city that don't have a damn train running through them all the time.
Well, yeah. It's pretty normal.
It might be normal for Canada, Mrs. Sarcastic. That's pretty normal.
Well, here's like the most abnormal place in the world.
Oh, really? So you've been everywhere in the world. Alrighty.
Now who's being sarcastic?
England is far more like here than Canada. And that's funny considering y'all came as a colony of England.
So did most of the people here.
Yes, but why did we end up doing things more like England and Canada ended up doing things like it did?
Uh-huh. Whatever you say, bro.
Oh my gosh, people. She's being an argumentative grump bag. A bag of grumps. That's argumentative. So, 3 out of 5. Not bad. Probably more like 3.5 out of 5, to be honest. Now that we've had the discussion about the issues, I can see at least 2 of those 4 issues being easy to overcome. Like, snap your fingers and you're done. But I did think it was interesting that we joked all the way there about trying to find where the sister wives people were living, and then boom, first half an hour that we're in the city, and there's the guy.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
How did we even end up... I know it was on his list, but how did we even end up picking that place for that day?
Because it was the closest one to our hotel, and we didn't want Mexican food.
Oh, okay. And I think Alyssa wanted Mexican food, but as it turned out, it's just as good.
Mexican food was crap.
Yeah, that we needed... That's kind of sad, because you'd have to think there'd be pretty good Mexican food in that town somewhere.
Why? Did you see a whole lot of Hispanic people around?
It's close to Mexico.
There was not a whole lot of Hispanic people there.
It's close to Mexico.
That's nice.
That might be a negative. That's just not an insurmountable. That's just a negative. Like not having good Mexican food. That's
there was
one
like
of the things
12
that
more
actually,
Mexican restaurants, though. So we have at least 12 more chances for there to have good Mexican food.
That's what Ashley complains about in Australia, not good Mexican food. She loves Mexican food. That's why when she comes back, she always says she wants to go to Supermex.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think it's still in the running. I'm just hesitant. But then you know what? I know myself. I'm kind of laughing. I would have, it doesn't matter which one we went to first, I would react the exact same way. I'd be defensive and holding back a little bit because you don't want to make a decision on the first place you go.
Well, and it's not California, and it's not what you're used to, and you don't particularly like change in that kind of way, so it's going to be
I realize
difficult
something.
and grouchy either way.
The reason that travel gives me anxiety is travel involves change.
Uh-huh.
And it's almost like when they were talking about Mike going to jail on the Jersey Shore thing. You're losing your freedom. You know, when you're in jail, you can't go, man, I'm craving a hot fudge sundae. Let me go get a hot fudge sundae from somewhere. You can't do that. You're in jail. It's
right. It's kind of the concept of jail.
Well, yeah, but
freedom.
But my point is that you don't want to make where you live feel that way.
Okay, makes sense.
You want it to feel more comfortable and open, and I think that place accomplishes that.
Well, fair enough.
You just don't want to make your decision on the first place you go because you have to.
Well, it's not like we're moving tomorrow.
Right, that's why I say you have to think it through and decide what to do. But it was nice overall. I mean, we'll talk about the Grand Canyon in another episode. I would say overall trip, 4.8
out of
5.
Solid.
What do you think?
The same.
It was a great time. I think it's going to be something we're going to remember. It was really nice to see. I almost cried, actually, to see Mitchell's paper. And it said his favorite thing he did from the summer was visiting the Grand Canyon. That just, I don't know, that blew me away, made me feel good. I'm glad that had an impact on him, and it's something he's going to remember.
Yep.
So, before the cat assaults you, she's probably telling you she wants to go to bed.
Well, I guess that means good night, everyone.
Hasta la bye-bye, pretty girl. Thank you for listening to the Nightly Rant.
If you enjoyed the show, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Play.
If you didn't enjoy the show, please just ignore that previous request for a rating.
This has been a Yogi's Podcast Network production.